Yo, gang. Welcome back to another video. I'm going to give a quick little rundown of my updated computer setup, which I got over here with the new graphics card, kind of give how I dual stream because I get questions about this stuff all the time since I am a VR streamer. I don't think a lot of people understand just how complicated my VR streams and what I go through just to make sure that everything is up and running. So I'm going to give some dynamics on how my systems and everything ran up, since I did get questioned when I was doing my last build saying that it was for a PC, dual PC streaming, but I didn't really quite show what it was like. And I'm going to kind of give a little quick summary of that. This video is going to probably be a little bit longer than the last video. I'm going to skip a lot of the upgrades that's going to be in this computer since I did that on the last video. If you want to see what that's like, I'll put that video in the descriptions down below. So we're going to get started with some of the aesthetics that I have here in the studio. So I only have like my little studio lights that I have up here. I only have one of them turned on, only because of the fact that this one was bleeding into my camera the last time. So I had somebody that got into one of the comments and said that I should put some blackout windows or like blackout curtains so that way light doesn't bleed through. Yeah, so that window and that window is actually boarded up and it's covered. So it wasn't any lights coming from the outside. It was coming from that light from up there. So aside from the light there, I do have these little panels over here on both sides of the room. Those are IR lights. So whenever you stream in VR, you will get like low latency between your controller and your headset, especially when I had it for the Quest 2. Those VR lights came in clutch. You can technically play in the dark with those because as long as your computer and or say your headset and your controllers can see one another, then it's Gucci. So that's the reason why I have those up there. I got the wall rack with the merch on it, with all the merch hats and stuff that's back over there. I got my VR gun stock rack, except that one right there is a little special. That one's not really quite gun stock. You'll see what that one is. Little wall of merch. My main gun stock that I use, which is a discontinued one, but it's the biggest, heaviest, further like most customizable one that I use, mainly because of the weight for the immersion. That is the Maglock Ultra. No, sorry, that's the Maglock Pro. This one right here is the Maglock Ultra. That one's the one that's designed for the Quest 2. That one, or sorry, not the Quest 2. It's used for the Quest 2 and the Quest 3. And then this one is used for the Quest Pro controllers. Since I like to use the Quest Pro controllers because of the reliability, that the fact that they have like their own, Snapdragon chip inside of them, have their own cameras. They typically track themselves. The most expensive controllers, I put it that way. That's a controller gun stock that I use. So aside from that, I do have my typical 3 monitor panel that I have. The 2 on the sides are just 1080p's. I normally use like Discord. I'll have that one up on that. I'll have a text-to-speech feature. So whenever I stream in VR, not all games would give you the feedback to be able to see chat. So that is what that monitor is typically used for. And this monitor is basically used for any web page or anything like that I'm like playing a game on this one. And then if I need to have like information, so I play a lot of RPGs, MMORPGs like Final Fantasy 14. I'll have like quest markers and guides and stuff like that over here. This is one of my 4K gimbal cameras that I always mention in my videos that I've been doing that I didn't have doing for like the unboxing videos and stuff like that because, well, it's hooked up to my camera, or it's in my computer. So that's one of them. This is Insta360. This is one that just recently came out. This is the other one that I have. This one is the Insta360. This is the first one. And so this one is angled upwards, so that way when I do like DJ streams, this one features downwards, so that way it sees like my turntables, and this one's typically towards me. So this monitor right here, in the last video, has anybody seen it? This video or this monitor is a dual purpose monitor. So this monitor at this moment is connected to this layout, and my streaming computer, which is this guy here, this streaming computer is hooked up to the cameras that I have back over here, because when I live stream, this is the streaming camera, or computer, so all the streaming stuff will be back over here. And I have a wireless keyboard and mouse, so that way when I move everything, I just take those guys, bring it over here to this station here, I move this keyboard up, the other keyboard's over here, and then this mouse stays here. I have another mouse pad that's over here, so that way I bring that mouse pad over. So when I stream, all of my OBS, which I use Streamlabs, will be over here on this computer, as you can kind of tell with the little icons. So this right here is for Streamlabs. This right here is for my voice communicator. This is what I do when I tell my computer what to do. This is how it swaps between like all my scenes, especially when I'm in VR. You don't get a chance to really go to like a Stream Deck or switch manually because you're not sitting at your computer. So I have this voice communicator. So when I give certain voice commands, it hits like a series of hotkeys and stuff like that. And the hotkeys will swap between microphones, scenes, cameras, you name it. It's all on there. I have huge profiles that pretty much run this whole entire computer. And so this right here is an Insta360 cameras. This is where I can use to program where I want the cameras to see. I can change the orientation if it's facing towards me or if it's like looking up, if I'm standing up, because it's not going to be facing me all the time. They are gimbaled, so they are tracking cameras, so they can follow me around the room, which tend to go rogue every now and then. But, you know, it's the nature of the business. Sometimes you can't control that. So the other things that I have on here, so when I typically stream from this streaming computer, I normally have basically 3 apps open. So I have my camera here for my 360 controller for my cameras. I have OBS open, and then I'll have my capture card. So my capture card I'll have up on this display, and I will F11 it so that way it's widescreen. That way you get the most fidelity whenever it is on Streamlabs. And when I do stream, I'll have my camera controller, and then I will have my OBS open up on a second monitor. Now, the second monitor is technically right here, but it's not here because my second monitor is this monitor. So that way, when I have everything set up, I can have my main display, my text-to-speech, because that's going to come through here from this display. And the reason why is because of this little switchboard communicator right here. It's just a standard USB switchboard. This switchboard will swap anything that I plug into it. So at the moment, it has like my microphone, which would be this guy, and a couple other things. So at the moment, I have a blackout piece of tape that's here. The blackout tape lets me know that I don't see a light. That means it's on this display. And I also have it set up because if I'm streaming normal stuff that doesn't require a lot of load, I can just stream from this computer. This computer does have OBS on here as well, which is right down there, which is my Streamlabs. It has all the cameras and all that other stuff like my streaming computer does. The only difference about this one is the Stream Deck. So if I am sitting here on my main setup, it has all the same components and all the same buttons that I have that's on here that is on the opposite side. The Stream Deck is one of those things that swap over when I hit that switcher, and it swaps everything from this computer over to that one. But it got confusing because I didn't know which controller was being controlled at the same time as when I swap everything over. So if I hit this button here, a blue light comes on, and that blue light swaps over from where I put like this blackout tab, and now it's over here. So that way when I see this, then I know that this is now connected to that streaming computer that's right back over there. And I put this little cup icon here. So when I see that, then I know that this is now connected to my streaming computer. So the other thing about the streaming computer that I do have that when I'm on this monitor, so how I have it set up is that this monitor has an HDMI. The HDMI is hooked up to the streaming computer. That's where that second monitor is. And then when it's in my main configuration, it is ran through DisplayPort. So if I go from the sources, go from the DisplayPort to HDMI, it'll swap over, and then from HDMI, it'll bring up my secondary screen that's over here. So when I bring it up on the secondary screen, you can see how everything lays out. So I have my OBS now. I have my my camera. So in case my camera goes rogue or whatever, I can shut it off. I can reposition it. I can do all that other cool stuff that I would normally need to do with it. And like I said, everything that's going to be controlled over here will be controlled with my secondary keyboard, which will be sitting right here, because this keyboard I will move up. Because I wouldn't be using it at the time. And this one's wireless too. If I need to remove it, I can just unplug it. I can unplug the mouse, remove the mouse, and then I can use everything up here like normal. So that way it's not in the way. So aside from this guy, there is some communication issues. It took me forever to figure out how to get into it. So when I stream, this computer, when it streams, how it runs the voice. I run two microphones, namely because when everything that streams from this computer and streams over, it carries the audio over what's on the screen. So whatever pops through the audio over here will transfer over there. The only problem is that if I am playing a game here with this headset is connected to that computer. This headset is connected to this computer. So you can kind of tell the audio things get a little bit weird. You can get like a $200, $300 audio switchboard controller, all that other stuff. But this is how I solved that problem. You know, it was cheaper than going that other way. Trust me, I have enough shit plugged into these computers where I didn't want to have anything else. So these headphones are tagged through that computer. These headphones, when in this configuration, is picked up by OBS. So anything that I say in OBS will be picked up and filtered here. This is my streaming headset. So anything that I say on stream or on that headset there would appear on stream on my audio drivers. But when I do it that way, it won't be picked up on Steam, because this headset is connected to that. Steam is connected to that. So that means that when I play the games, all the audio from the games, all that other stuff from other people comes through here to there. But this does not transfer from here back to here. So there's a communication thing. So if I talk with that headset, everybody on stream can hear me. Anybody that talks in the game, they will be picked up on stream. But if I say anything on that headset, any person in the game will not be able to hear me. So that's where the conundrum came in. So how I solved that problem is that I got these, the Rhodes USB, like wireless microphones. These are the wireless minis, and it comes with two of them. They have a pretty long battery life. I think each one of those has a standard battery life about 5 to 7 hours. And the case itself, basically has up to 2 hours, or like, I think it's like 20 hours worth of charge time or something along those lines. So aside from that, when I stream, my audio in this computer for my microphone will be set to the Rhodes mini microphone. So that means that anything that I say in game will come through that, and they will be able to hear me on my computer. And they will also be able to hear me on stream through that. So I run two microphones. So the wireless is to have my teammates hear me in a game that I'm streaming from this computer. And any person that I talk to, or just talking to in general, will have on that headset. So if I mute this headset with this headset won't control the switchboard. All these buttons here are all voice commands. There is a voice command module. I can't remember what it's called. Actually, it's called like the voice communicator or something along those lines. You have to give it authorization for it to control Streamlabs, OBS, or just OBS in general. You have to give it permissions. And then when it does, anything that I have set for my voice commands, which is the same thing that's down here on this guy, which is the same voice command module that I have on my streaming computer. So by telling it that, I can hit one of these buttons and it will change the scene on this computer. And if I speak that same command, it'll change it automatically. So no matter what I do, it'll change that. So that's kind of the complicated setup and how I had to fix things when I run things as a dual PC setup. So at the moment, this is the Elgato capture card that I have down here. And this one's only set up for basically a one-way. So it has the power cord. This HDMI is plugged into this computer. So anything that pops up over here, runs over to this computer. This computer does not have the 4K streaming module that you use to use the Elgato, but the streaming computer does. So the streaming computer 4K module has the Elgato capture card device on that. This computer does not. So that way, anything that's on here will transfer over to that computer. The only difference is a lot of videos, for some odd reason, it took me the longest time to figure this out. So how it works is that you would have to have the audio being ran through the Elgato capture card. It'll pop up as a sound source. You would have to have all your audio filtered through that Elgato capture card as a sound source in order for it to be picked up through the streaming device, which is going to be for the Elgato capture card application that's going to be on this guy. This one will automatically run that capture card as a microphone. So as it comes through, you want to enable that as a microphone and then have the output, for whatever your output device is. You can then set that to your speaker or you can set it to your headset. So mine is set through a headset because whenever I play the games, all the sound sources are going to come through that. All the text to speech options are going to come through that headset and all that other good stuff as well. So that's a little rundown of how I did that. So a lot of people wanted to get back to the case. So the case is the updated case. I did have to change a couple things. And this Haven 420 VS case, which is, like I said, a new to the market case. I chose it because of all the room, and a lot of graphic cards have a lot of great aesthetics to it that, made the vertical GPU mounts very, very popular. So I ended up going with the GPU mount for this one to go vertical, and it looks so good. But because of the card and how everything is ran out, that card is a beefy card. It's big. As you can tell, it's really tall. So when I had to set everything in, it wasn't the easiest thing to put back in there once I had already had, the fans and all that other stuff in it. So it was a drag. I'll put it that way. So leaving out of that, the only thing that really changed in this case, aside from, of course, the 5090 MSI Supreme Liquid GPU that we have, this one is set to the gaming BIOS, not the silent BIOS. And I kept it as an exhaust. So these fans here are part of the radiator. So this blows the fans, the air outwards, where my original setup when I had the Noctua 140 fans, it was an intake because it sucked in all the cold air from outside to help cool the three fans on the GPU. So since this one actually has a direct fan, since this case is mainly a bottom fed case, there's all these gaps at the bottom, sucks in cold air from the bottom, also an intake fan there, also sucks in air when the glass panel is on. It sits on the front, so this is supposed to pull air through the bottom, through the back, and it's supposed to blow it upwards. It uses this glass here as a ricochet, so it comes up, angles it, ricochets it off the glass, and then it gets sucked in through that fan. That's essentially how it works. And from Jay's 2 Cents and a couple other channels like Streamer, or was it Gamer Nexus, it works, but it's not the most. It's not 100%. There's some spillover when it comes to that, but there is a lot of different ways that you can, adjust it. So of course the AIO is a really big thing. Of course the radiator block has an exhaust fan that's here, 140 millimeters. So it's pretty big. It's, pushes air out really, really well. And, so going into, the AIO is new. A lot of people were asking me about it when in the DMs. So the AIO is really, really cool because you get like a 3D effect with it, depending on where you wanted to put it. You can change to like all these different cool designs. They actually just updated it. So now they have some other really great designs that appear on it. I think this one here is one of the newer ones that came out with it. So is this guy. And I believe it's another one. Now you can get other people to go through and make these videos. I forgot what they're called exactly. Um, there's a very specific term with it doing the warping that it does. You can get people to go out and go on a Fiverr and stuff like that. You can have somebody, um, make these type of videos for you. And of course, you can add your information for how you want your stuff to pop up on the system. You can have it on, the center, middle, right. You can add smoke, water effects, all that stuff. You can have videos, movies, and all that stuff play on it like normal. And so it's just kind of like your standard, you know, AIO, I would say. So this has one of my starting screens from when I stream. So this is the ones that I typically use. And so aside from going to that AIO, we're going to end up going to this monitor. So I had a lot of people, especially there was one guy that was like, well, I love the design of it, but is the monitor necessary? Kind of takes away from the aesthetic. And I agreed with him. It does kind of take away from the aesthetic, but given how big this case is, this case comes standard with, I believe it's either four USB drive slots, and they're heavy. They're made out of steel. Like this whole entire part of this case is. You don't have to have fans here. When you originally get the case, this is normally covered up. And when you do so, there's also a bracket that you can get that is specifically designed for monitors. So if you wanted to get, like, I believe it's the Hyatt Touch that has like the huge, touch screen that comes off of the corner panel of the fish tank, case that they have. It's very popular. And when it came out, that case was sold out almost everywhere. And even when you got the normal Hyatt case that came with the angular glass here in the front, you can take that angular glass off and just buy the screen separate. So getting screens inside of your PC is pretty normal, because if people don't have a liquid cooled AIO, they can have your standard, air cooler. And with that, they don't have a way to display their temps and all that other stuff. So screens have become a pretty niche thing, but it's gaining more popularity and more ground. So if I didn't have that stuff up there, I can turn that off, or I can just keep that display on, and then that's where this screen comes in. So this screen right now is displaying an automatic GIF from my my logo that I have. And the cool thing about this is that it does have its own speaker. So the speaker is mounted on the back. This is a volume control. I have it turned off because it's just like a monitor. So if you don't tell whatever sound or whatever to come through on your main speakers, it'll come through on this, and it threw me off for a lot. So I just, took the speakers off. I didn't mention that the fact that a lot of people, when they have these monitors are hard mounted to the case. This one is not. Even though it looks that way, it's pretty sturdy. It's not going anywhere. If I tip this thing over, it's not going to tumble out of it. This is a 3D printed shroud. It's a case cover that I ended up 3D printing. This is just a standard, I believe it's a 7.5 or just 7-inch, Raspberry Pi, workshop computer. So this thing, when I was mentioning on one of the videos, is that it's magnet mounted. So I can take this thing off easy peasy. I can unplug it. I could remove that. I can take this off, and then I could take these cables and tuck these cables here in the back. And then I could put the fan shroud on. You would never even know that they were there. It doesn't do any damage to the case. It doesn't do anything like that. It just has standard magnets. I can just take them, plop them back on, and it sits down. So it's not any detriment to the case. It's not anything that's, that needs to be there. I could take it off in less than, 20 seconds if I have to take the glass off of that, and then, unplug the cables, tuck the cables back in, and just remove the monitor. I can install it just as fast. As you can tell, those are, they're considered 90-degree angle, but because of the fact that how that mount is on the side, they're faced backwards. So they're considered 270 degree mounts or whatever it is. And then that way they can plug in, everything pulls into the back. Of course, the the three 140 millimeter fans are gone because the AIO for this card itself is a 360. It's the same AIO or the same radiator block for the AIO. So right now it is three 120 fans that are on there that work as an exhaust to blow everything out. So aside from that, I'm going to do some small little videos here and there just to test out, the difference of like having this beast of a card. This card is fast. It's right up there. It's actually under workloads because of the fact that it's liquid cooled. It actually pulls better temps and it pulls better performance than the 5090's Founders card. So this thing can be overclocked when you initially get it. It's the SoC version, which I don't know exactly what it means. A couple other professionals don't know what it means either, but it's some kind of standard overclock. So when you get it, it's already overclocked out of the box. Nothing extreme or anything like that. I've seen videos where people undervolted. I've seen videos where people completely overclocked it and stuff like that. Probably wouldn't do anything like that because it does, or it can void the warranty. It can lessen the lifespan of your device, but true enthusiasts and true professionals know what they're doing. I don't, so I'm just going to leave it as is. But right now, this is the build that I have. And there's a couple other people that I've actually seen that's running the same exact card with the same exact case, same exact fans and everything. I've seen one where a guy had it, but instead of having the vertical mounted bracket, he had the horizontal bracket. And the difference between the horizontal bracket is that it doesn't have these angled fans. It doesn't come with the tempered glass windscreen here. And it comes with, your normal mounting brackets here. And then it has a built-in anti-sag bracket that sits right here on his back plate right here, and that helps keep your system from your graphics card from sagging. If you got one of those big beefy cards like like the non-liquid cool Supreme, you can have the 5090 just the Supreme, and that one's a thick card. I think it's still a 2-slot card, but it takes up a lot of room in there. It's a hefty card. But aside from that, that's pretty much it. I was going to show the back of it. This case is very easy with cable management. I'll kind of show an example here. If I take this top panel off, so this top panel here, there's all these different little guides with these cutouts that tell you where things will go, how to guide it. So the cable management in the back is actually really, really good. And this is like my first computer build. And one thing I was stressing about was having clean cable management, because a lot of people was like, show me the back of your computer. So the cable management on this one isn't bad at all. It's very easy to get everything in. It's color coded. It'll kind of give you some recommended cables that will go through here. Like one would be blue, and it was like, this is for your 16 pin for your motherboard, stuff like that. And there's deep channels that you can, put your cables into. They all come standard with like these Velcro ties, so you don't necessarily need to go out of the way to get it. So this case, for what it is, it's a pretty expensive case. I think it's around 400. It could be like 240. I don't know. I don't even remember what I spent on it. Full metal. It has like the fan grates on the side here, so has it on the side here, has it on the back here, or to say the side here, and then it actually has some spots here on the back. It does have a vent cover here for the intake fan. There's also the removable vent cover here that you can pull out from the bottom. So they have that guy down there. So it helps keep the dust out, to keep the computer clean, and it's pretty easy to access, given that there is minimal screws. This one, to take the glass, if you want it to mount it, so in case like it doesn't, fall off or something like that, during shipping, there's 4 screws. So there's 2 screws here, 2 screws on the side that you can screw this thing down once you put the glass panel back on. But at the moment I don't have it. I took it off so that way when I get done with this video, I can post them back on. There's these groove channels. You just set the edge of your case here, and then there's like little wheels. You just push it forward, and the wheels will sit down in this groove and just roll back, and it locks in. And it's a single panel, tempered glass panel that sits on there. It's a really good case. Heavy, takes up a lot of space, but it's really durable. I had fun building in it, and I don't know. So I think from here on out, I'm gonna go back to my usual stuff and start doing some, video streams and some stuff like that, and start getting some videos. I'm anxious to put this beast to the test and see what it's capable of. But until then, I'll catch you guys with the next video. Take care, have a good one, and like usual, Sigma's got you 6. Over and out.